Sydney versus the Canberra Raiders, both teams on the field, the flags flying high from the Canberra Raiders fans. Greg McCallum, the referee for tonight's match, making his way to centre field as the two mascots dance a bit of a jig. Little Reggie Rabbit.
Certainly a marvellous night for football, isn't it? Perfect conditions, not too cold. As the players and the touch judges and referee prepare, we were going to have a minute's silence. As you may be aware, Ken Stephen, long-serving former secretary of the ARL and New South Wales Rugby League, passed away this week at the age of 62. Ken was a life member of the New South Wales Rugby League and a former Souths, Balmain and New South Wales player, and certainly a hard-working official for rugby league for many, many years, and he'll be very sadly missed. We pass our condolences on to his family.
Yes, one of the finest men involved in the game of rugby league, Ken Stephen. But now it'll be for Canberra, through Mal Meninga, to come back to halfway for the kick-off. The chant starting up for the Rabbitohs. Can they stay alive? Another do-or-die effort from them in this race for final five positions. Final warm-up for Greg McCallum. As Ian Marie said, perfect weather in Sydney this afternoon and a magic night for football. Away we go through Meninga. Down for Jura, who was the Network 10 man of the match last Friday night in a great display for South Sydney. Should be some monumental exchanges here through the forwards. Chisholm just moving play away from the danger zone for the Rabbitohs. Back quickly to Allison for the kick. Not mucking about at all, Souths, in turning Canberra around. Bouncing towards touch, and it'll be let go by Paul Martin.
Well, right from the word go, Ellison's got a very good left footer in here, a right footer in here, and it's given a sharp left-hand break. And really, Paul Martin did the wise thing not to attempt to touch that one.
So Ricky Stewart in top grade for Canberra against their feed. Jura quickly trying to force the overlap for South through Neville. Now it comes out for Maven. The long pass went over the top of Longbottom. He was keen for the quick ball, but it went astray.
Yes, you can see here the pass was given very, very quickly. Maven there behind Longbottom and really didn't give him an opportunity to handle it at all. They don't need to do things as quickly as that.
Well, that's one great chance lost because that was the first tackle. Great scrum win against the feed by Fennick. Now Canberra come up with it. Daly. South's out to bustle this Canberra side. Stewart finding a big hole up the middle of the rucks so early in the match. Why they come through their forwards. Lazarus. Sam Bacco. Man that will have to be watched. He's had a great representative season. Back they go quickly for the kick. Likewise through Meninga. Taken well by Adam O'Neill running back. Wrapped up by Martin. Maven. But don't argue. But in comes Lance. Strong defence from Canberra. They try to force him over the touchline. Blake. For Davidson, he was standing very flat. He still managed to get the ball away. Andrews will play it right on his own quarter line. Hosking. 2 and 3 Canberra defenders come in on him. Bacco and Lazarus. Now where's Ellison? Here he is with the kick once more. Trying to move Belcher around. He sits up for Belcher now. He takes on Neville. Beats him easily. Right into the open spaces. Gets outside Ellison. He has Ferguson in support. What a marvellous turnaround. Put your glasses down. It's a brilliant try for Canberra. Absolutely brilliant. Gary Belcher and Ferguson. You just can't give them any room to move. They've committed suicide, South Sydney. They just weren't up there in enough numbers. What a try for Canberra.
Yes, just not enough keen, enthusiastic chasers here. Here's Belcher starting the whole action. Back there in his own quarter, and he runs right around Neville and gets right away from him. He's going very, very strongly. looks on the outside, evades the tackle there of Mark Ellison. Then he gets Ferguson. Ferguson comes on the inside and shows that marvellous acceleration. And Phil Blake ran out of a shoe there trying to get to him. He wasn't able to do that. That's as good a try as you could ever hope to see. Here again, Belcher was not cut off. There weren't enough chasers in the South Sydney side. There only one went up right at the instigation of the try on the back in the quarter. Here's Belcher now. He changes pace. The beautiful body swerve there. Shows the pass back on the inside to Ferguson. Ferguson takes off. Now he's pursued by Blake. I think Blake may well have caught him if the thing had gone another 10 or 15 metres, but the line was too close, and Ferguson was able to get the ball down for a spectacular try in the opening couple of minutes of the game.
Just the kick to come from alongside the post now from Gary Belcher, about 5 metres to the side of the post. What a start for the Raiders. Well, he's miskicked that, pushed it astray, but he set the try up, and Canberra racing to a great start. 4-0 over Souths.
Canberra over South after a brilliant start. That ball gone in from touch from the kick-off. It's gone with the fee, but a mistake from Martin. Well, John Ferguson, brilliant start, leading try scorer for this year, and it's happy birthday to John Ferguson. His birthday today.
How old is he?
Well, he said he's 34. I said, you've seen that before? He said, no, I haven't. Here's Blake. Very close to the Canberra line. 3 metres out. Now, South desperately need to get back as Fennick tries to burrow his way through the defence. Lost the ball, but the penalty's been given to South.
Yes, in the tackle there apparently is somebody's gone for the ball and reefed it away. We're just watching it now. You can see it come out there. I think possibly it was Walters that got the hand around it. So this is going to give South Sydney the opportunity from wide out. You know, there's a young fellow by the name of Todd Collis in the Campbelltown Hospital at the moment. It's a mad keen South Sydney supporter. Would you believe he impaled himself on a broomstick in his chest, and he very nearly died, but he's a South Sydney fan and he's coming good, and we send you all good cheers. I hope that try to Ferguson didn't put you off too much, but there's a long while to go. You're a lucky young lad.
Good on you, Todd. Now there at Campbelltown. Now Mark Ellison attempting to put South on the board tonight. He's kicked 59 goals from 79 attempts. That's a pretty good percentage. Second leading goal kicker for this season. And this one is about 7 metres in from touch.
Well, have a look at the lower grades while we're waiting for this kick. Canberra 22, South Sydney 14 on the under-21s. And the reserve grade, a resounding victory to South Sydney, 32 over Canberra 12.
Now here's Ellison's attempted shot at goal. It's going to be to the left of the post. He too has pushed it. Not quite as badly as Belcher did, but no change to that scoreline. 4-0, Canberra over Souths. Canberra coming back to restart.
The redeeming feature, of course, he did kick the ball dead, so that's an important thing for youngsters to realise when they're having a shot at penalty goal.
Jackson's restart is down for Adam O'Neill. He has Bronco Dura with him, but will take the tackle on his own. Now here's Dura. Put down about 8 metres short of halfway. Well, Canberra off to a flying start. Bill kick to Gary Belcher, and look what happens, eh?
Yeah, it certainly is. I think the key to this game, Ian, is going to be South Sydney's backline defence. Gary Belcher's a master at beating the first man, just like he did there, and then he creates a 2-on-1 situation, just like he did there. Now, South's get him any space to move. Belcher, Meninga, Ferguson and co, well, they'll cut them to pieces. South Sydney have been sliding in defence rather than going up and in and putting pressure on, and that's what they're going to have to do out wide.
Thank you, Bill. Now, the Canberra side working their way up towards the halfway mark through Grant Ellis. Waller's getting a pass which is picked up by Belcher right on the halfway mark. Ricky Stewart's kick is over Bronco Dura's head and will find touch. A nice little kick, finding it about 8 metres from the try line.
Yes, a highly thought-of player, this Ricky Stewart. He's made the first grade in rugby league very well. He's adjusted to it. He's already got a good kicking game, if we see from that kick. It's a gain of about, 35, 40 metres.
Interesting combination. Stewart at halfback and Daly at 5'8" for the Raiders tonight. From the scrum, the penalty's gone to South Sydney. So Ellison it is who will try to find touch again. As we've said repeatedly, South Sydney must win every game if they're going to make the semis. So every game is a grand final to them. Now, South Sydney 32 metres out. That's a pretty strong hit from Daly. Just working their way up towards the halfway mark as Blake sends it across field towards Ferguson's wing. Ferguson will probably cut this off. He does. Can he beat the first tackle? Yes, he sort of half beat him anyway. You get used to seeing him beat the first man most of the time. Now here's Belcher getting it on to Jackson. There's a bit of a gap there for Jackson, but it closed pretty quickly. Kicked through by Fennick. Well, I thought it was. Referee hasn't signalled the tackle count to restart. And Dean Lance is 9 metres from halfway. Jackson switching it over to Belcher. Belcher quickly caught though by Coleman. Well, Coleman read that very well. Now here's Jackson, and Jackson's knocked it on.
Well, rather, thank heavens he knocked it on there, because they were wide open again on the blind side of that ruck, South Sydney, and Jackson sit that ball down. He could have probably made a lot of ground to Ferguson up to halfway.
So good rushing there from South. So one of the few occasions they've really put Canberra under pressure. Blake bounces back, picks it up, wrapped up by Stewart. Jura just stepping from that dummy half position. Looking for some runners in the forwards, the South Sydney side. There's Davidson. Stand. The pass went back for nobody. Ellison's managed to pick it up. Cut out pass missing Blake. Now out through the backs they go through Neville. Nowhere to go against Meninga and Daly. Maven tending to run one out, South Sydney. Really got to start looking for each other in support. Last tackle. Ellison again for the kick. This time it's the bomb up for Belcher. Plenty of chases coming on this occasion. Turns his back, leaps and takes it well.
Magnificent take again. He was under a certain amount of pressure. Turned his back to them, and that's the accepted way to do it. The good ones all do that, and he left the ground beautifully. Great stuff.
Man with a big future, Brad Clyde, just 18 years of age, in the second row for Canberra. Keep your eye on him tonight. Backo. Crunched to the ground.
Yes, Johnny Croucher, what do the footy tab pundits think about this game?
Well, Rex, the clear favourites on footy tab are the Canberra Raiders, and about 2/3 of the entries think they're going to win this, and in fact fairly easily. Popular score, South's 10, Canberra 20, and there's $33,000 to be won in the dividend pool.
Good on you, John. Thanks, mate.
Well, McCallum showed it all there, the swinging arm. And Hosking was the man that was penalised, quite rightly. Jackson will find touch. About 38 metres out. So again, South Sydney to come under some pressure from Canberra. Clyde. Sending the South Sydney defence backwards. Backo. Right in the midfield, outside the quarter line. They go to the back line. Daly, the little chip and chase for himself, trying to find Bronco Jura out of position. Did well to pick it up on the run. Trying plenty of things in the back line, Canberra. The back line full of confidence. Davidson. There's the missed tackles, just the one from Canberra, 5 already from Souths. Sloppy play of the ball. It allowed Canberra to wrap up Fennick. Blake in there, calling some orders to his forwards. Goes the blind side, and the kick for Ellison. Belcher's in perfect position. Andrews just manages to get a hold of the jumper. He was through again otherwise. Quickly they go to the back line. Long ball from Stewart for Daly. Gets outside his man. On the run around with Meninga. Pushes off Maven. Daly into the clear. Maven comes again, does well to get him low. The signs are ominous out wide. This Canberra side. Meninga now. Heavily tackled by Les Davidson. Ellis. Fuller running this Canberra side. Back it comes for Walters. Last tackle now against Canberra. Set up both sides of the ruck. Jackson stepping. Keeps the ball alive brilliantly for Clyde. Likewise for Stewart. The flick round the back for Walters. Marvellous football in keeping it alive. Back for Dean Lance, their skipper. Entertaining stuff from the Raiders.
Yeah, I love watching Canberra. I must admit, as South get this penalty, I think they're a very exciting side to watch, but tempers have become a little frayed. Lazarus in there. They're certainly playing with a lot of confidence, aren't they? Keeping the ball alive brilliantly.
Yes, they've got a very sound pattern of play. It's a good, strong front row go up there all the time. They're very, very powerful. Lazarus knows the way to the line. He's a very strong runner. Bacco's a powerful runner. And this young Bradley Clyde's an interesting lad. I'm very impressed with him.
Yeah, got a lot of very talented players. In fact, they're in the record books pretty well this year, Canberra. Just for the record, they have the leading point scorer in Belcher with 160 points. And just for the record, John Ferguson, the leading try scorer, 17 tries. Oh, what a hit that was. Beautiful hit from Dean Lance. Here it is again. Oh, magnificent.
Just for the record, that hurt.
There was a little get square there in that one too from Lazarus, who gave a bit of a stiff to Hoskins.
Penalty again to Souths. I robbed Johnny Ferguson of the try he just scored a moment or two ago. So just for the record, Ferguson now has 18 tries. Speaking of just for the record, which of course is the very popular show on Network 10 on Tuesdays at 7:30. Just for the record has given us a $500 cash award to the top tackler tonight. That's apart from our normal Man of the Match award, which is a Network 10 $1,000. So the players are in the money tonight. They do the job. Now here's South Sydney putting plenty of pressure now on Canberra as Hosking takes it up. At 15 metres out. Crisscross move with Coleman and Chisholm. Fennick a dummy half, showing it several ways, and finally on to Davidson. Davidson slipped it back to Bronco Dura. He's on a quarter about a metre from the line. Pressure now for Canberra as Fennick tries to get the ball down, but he can't do it. Referee says that no try. Mario wants to argue.
Yes, don't argue, Mario. There was a fraction of a second there I thought he'd scored that. The ball actually does get down on the line, as you can see, but I don't know that his hands were firmly holding it at the time. It definitely went on the line.
So a near thing for South Sydney, and this scrum has gone with the feed. Ricky Stewart caught at the scrum base. There it is there. Well, Mario thought he put it down. This time the penalty has gone to Canberra. So this will relieve some of the pressure that they found themselves under. Jackson kicking for touch. Pretty good touch finder too. He's been able to find it 8 metres from halfway. Bacco charges at the halfway line, slipped the pass back to Daly. It's gone back to Ricky Stewart. Now Clyde, always looking to unload. Fine prospect, this young man. Now Stewart. It went through Daly onto Jackson. Defence was good though. Now here comes Lazarus. 10 metres inside South half. Stewart. And Meninga's kick ahead sends Bronco Dura coming across to cover it. Picked it up okay, only a metre or two from his line. Got Adam O'Neill with him, but he takes the tackle of Clyde. Now Maven.
They're doing some dreadful play the ball, South Sydney, to Mario Fennick. One went right behind him a moment ago, and he had to reach between his legs there to get that one.
Yeah, they look to be trying to do things too quickly, don't they? Here's Chisholm caught right on the quarter line. Now it's back for Ellison. Again down to Belcher. Sits up magnificently for him. So he's full of running straight away and has run right around Andrews. Now he's run around Fennick and he's still going. Belcher, is he going to do it again? Still going. Links up with Jackson. Jackson's got support out there from Ferguson. Ferguson can't beat Dura though. Right on the quarter line. Here come the Raiders again. Jackson. Offloading. Daly will play it just inside the quarter. Stewart. A long pass to Belcher, can't handle it properly. It's gone behind him. And Belcher is caught and will play it. Here's Clyde. Clyde down the touchline, gets a one-handed pass inside for Martin. Gee, I like this fellow. Stewart has it. Then Ellis, and then on to Jackson. Jackson swiveling around, got a pass back for Ellis. Ellis flicked the pass back, which has gone to ground. It's been picked up though. Ferguson has it. Last tackle now for the Raiders, 11 metres out. Stewart puts the little kick in the air. Up they go for it. Dura's knocked it forward. It's been picked up by Daly. Daly's got the pass away. It's been picked up by Longbottom. And South Sydney come away after being under enormous pressure. Here's Maven.
They certainly have been under some tremendous pressure. Relentless, this attack from Canberra, but South's making so many elementary mistakes. There's the scrums all even. The penalties 4-2 to Souths. They've certainly needed those penalties. Fennick. 4-0 the Raiders lead. Friday night football. Last tackle for South Sydney. Back for Blake. Have they learnt their lesson? Again it'll go down to Belcher. Will they come up in a straight line and try and cut Belcher off? Again they come up in a jagged formation. And again Belcher says thank you very much. Well, he's going to be pinned here for shepherding. But South's Bill Anderson still haven't learnt their lesson, have they?
Well, Belcher's a master at beating the first man. You can see he did it here. Then what he does, Graham, after having beaten one, he looks to make a link to try and pick up another player. He wasn't successful on that occasion and gave away a penalty. But I must say that Canberra are starting to string together a lot of passes, and that spells trouble for Souths. Souths just can't match them out on the edges of the football field. Canberra getting a lot of passes out in that area, plenty of support play out there, and I think they've got too much pace out there.
Well, a bit of a drink here for Ellison. Mario, instructions coming out there from Piggins, no doubt, about trying to hem Belcher in. Time off, says McCullum. He missed his first attempt at goal.
Belcher's a logical successor to Gary Jack, should Gary Jack ever be injured or fall from favour. And Belcher has one thing that Jack doesn't have insofar as his general football ability. He links with people. He runs and links. Jack tends to go as far as he can go, get tackled, play the ball. It's something that I'd like to see Gary Jack do, is what Belcher's doing. That's running evasively and linking with some other support, not necessarily being the man to take the tackle.
Ellison. Long distance shot at goal. Again, he's pulled that one to the left of the post. Unsuccessful. Scoreline remained the same. 4-0 in favour of Canberra. At the City Football Stadium, Canberra leading 4-0 Friday night football. This scrum to go down 5 metres out from the South Sydney line, where the majority of this first half so far has been played. Blake trying to get away from Stewart. He can't. Dura. So we'd like to see Les Davidson coming from a lot deeper than he has tonight. Now it's Hoskins' turn. No doubt he's their main weapon in the forwards, Davidson. Here he comes now. Well, he stopped and looked for some support on that occasion. There was none there. Made the tackle all that much easier for Clyde. Ellison. In behind Martin goes the kick. He goes straight across field to see if he can link up with Belcher. Steps and beats the defence. Neville was the man that came across. Jackson now. And now that they have South Sydney's measure out wide, Lance. Good defence, skipper on skipper. Back it comes for Lazarus. to straighten up the attack. Ellis, overhead pass now for big Mal Meninga. Looks inside for Martin, just off hands it to Martin. Even more inroads now out wide for Canberra. Stewart, long pass for Belcher. Out it comes for Daly. They have the overlap. Oh, I thought he should have passed there to Jackson, who was into the open spaces. Last tackle for the Raiders. Stewart, midfield bomb. Play's going nowhere. Straight up it goes. Down it comes for Davidson. Ricochets out of his hands, and Steve Maven says thanks very much. Well, now he's lost it. Lost it back, and 6 more tackles for Souths.
Right on their own quarter line, Souths. And as Graham pointed out, this is where they've been most of this match. And Neville will play it. And this is O'Neill. Caught by Meninga. Now out for Coleman. Maven. Jackson takes him. Almost got away from Jackson. Now Mario Fenny getting it onto Hosking, but the Canberra defence swarming in on him. Last tackle now for Souths. Again, that ball set up nicely for Belcher. This time they pull him down though, 10 metres short of halfway. Clyde getting the pass away to Daly. Daly made some room for Ferguson very cleverly. Ferguson upfield he goes, links up inside, but the pass has gone to ground. Oh, gee, they're dangerous every time they swing that ball wide, aren't they?
They're dangerous, but they're over-elaborating in my view. I think that the old precept of just going as far as you can and taking the tackle would be a good thing for them to adopt at the moment. Every time they come back on the inside, the pass goes to ground. And Mario Fennick's going to have something said to him by a touch judge with the referee there. I don't think this will be any damaging thing to South Sydney. No, it's not going to be. It's going to be a scrum. And it's a South Sydney feed.
And it's gone with the feed as Blake gets it to Coleman. Switch of play, found Jura coming back on the blind side. But he's caught just on the halfway mark that you can see there. Now long bottom. Right on the halfway mark, and that man, as Davidson, not given any room to move. They're swarming him every time he has the balls. Hosking now will play it. Just 10 metres inside Canberra's half. Fennick from dummy half turns it back for Ellison. Last tackle now for South Sydney. As Blake tries one of his little specials, but Belcher is back there to pick the ball up. Blake did well to hold him. Stewart. Well, a penalty straight away to Canberra. Phil Blake was the marker and just moved straight across.
Took off sideways, yes. He wasn't standing directly behind the dummy half marker there. That's a legitimate penalty. A bit of over-enthusiasm.
So Canberra with Jackson finding touch 10 metres from halfway. Clyde takes it up to the halfway mark. And here's Bacco, full of running, Sam Bacco. That's a good hard run from Big Sam. Laurie Daly. An overhead pass finds Martin. Martin's pass back inside, but the pass from Daly was real forward.
Yes, little doubt about that. Clearly forward, and Meninga's the man that received the ball with a free go to the line there, but the referee had seen an error.
So as South Sydney bring it across field, one man who's not out there for Canberra is Ivan Henjak. He's sidelined with Bill Anderson.
Well, Ivan, your replacement, Ricky Stewart's having a great game. He's got a very good passing game.
Yes, Bill. Ricky's got a load of ability. He's a player of the future, a great player.
Canberra doing some good things, but just spoiling it with that last pass.
Yeah, we started very well, but we're just not putting enough consecutive pressure on South. Too many drop balls and some silly penalties.
Well, I'll let you get back and watch the rest of it.
Thanks very much, Bill.
Ivan Henjak One of the real organisers of the Canberra side. Blake now trying to organise something for South Sydney. Long pass from Coleman. Almost missed everybody. Last tackle for Souths. Again struggling to get out of their own territory. Back for Blake. Again the deep kick downfield. And again it'll be Belcher, the busiest man in this first half, to bring it back. Steps out of the tackle again. Beats the second man, Andrews. Finally wrapped up by Fennick and Hosking. Having a picnic he is. Now it's back for Stewart. Nowhere to go for the little halfback. Lazarus.
One of the few occasions he wasn't standing deep and coming onto it. He stood pretty near the edge of the ruck there and had no momentum up.
Walters. No doubt that the Canberra forwards are getting a lot deeper than South Sydney. Jackson. Straight across field. Slipped out of tackles. Back for Walters again. The pass for Sam Backow to go inside South Sydney's quarter line. Ellis just brushes players out of the way. Manages to unload the pass. Daly to get up and play it about 5 metres out from the line. Last tackle. South's trying to hang on here. Stewart keeping the ball alive. Well, he's going to have to get Ellison, who was way, way offside. He had played the advantage as long as he could, Greg McCallum. But Ellison got involved in the play.
Yes, watch this here. Ellison, the referees signified the last tackle there. The pass comes out to Stewart. Now Ellison's patently offside here. He's well and truly involved in the play when he shouldn't be. You can see him come up on the outside and get involved there, and he's the man that's been penalised.
So it was good work from the referee McCallum to play the advantage. It didn't come for Canberra, so now they get the opportunity through the penalty. Very close to the uprights. Brent Todd, another Raider, still due back after busting that shoulder and elbow earlier in the season. Missed with his first attempt, Belcher, from a similar position, but just on the other side of the post. About 12 metres out. Strikes this one much better. Belcher adds to 2 extra points, and the Raiders go to the lead 6-0 over Souths. Hit back strongly through Jura. Just inside Canberra territory. Hosking. Good if there's a difference between these two sets of forwards. We'll stay with play at the moment. Andrews. Back inside for Jura, right up the middle. Only just outside the quarter line now. Starting to put their passes together a lot better. Well, McCallum's going to pick off Sam Backow, who wants to argue the point. He's going to make the kick that much easier. You don't win those ones, Sam.
Yes, Sam was illegally handling the South Sydney player, wouldn't get off him, and then had a bit to say about it after. And the referee always wins those arguments. Players can never win that particular argument. Even if they're right, they're wrong.
Mario Fennick has called for a new ball. They weren't happy with the one that was in play, so this kick will be right in front for Ellison. Bill, I was suggesting that the difference between the two sets of forwards was that the Canberra Raiders seem to be getting a lot deeper in attack.
Yeah, not only are they doing that, Graham, they're also playing the ball very quickly, which of course allows them to get a roll on. They're getting plenty of momentum. South Sydney playing the ball slowly, therefore they're not getting the support runners there because the opposition's defence is set. I think that's the biggest difference between them.
So Ellison, courtesy of one Sam Backow, will find himself 10 metres closer to the goalpost. Nearly in line with the left hand upright. Unsuccessful with his first two. Takes his time. Important goal for South. He's got it. So 60 from 82 for Ellison. It's Canberra 6, South 2.
And just under 5 minutes of play remaining in the first half.
Well, the game promised to be a lot further apart than this at the start.
It did.
South Sydney have hung on fairly well. They've had to do a lot of grafting. They've got back into the game. They're 6-2. I would have thought they could have been down 10 or 12 points at this stage, but they've hung on fairly well.
This is Adam O'Neill. Rex, you're a man who likes a Western comedy, aren't you?
I do like a Western comedy.
Well, I know you won't be home in time, but your good lady might do the right thing and illegally tape it for you, because it's called From Noon Till 3, Charles Bronson and Jill Ireland, right after the footy tonight.
Sounds a good one.
Plenty of action, plenty of laughs. Charles Bronson. And I would imagine that if the Charles Bronson movie runs true to form, there might be a smattering of claret in there as well.
He's an aggressive lad, isn't he?
Plenty of aggression out there on the football field tonight too. Some heavy hits as Canberra's Clyde loses it forward, singing his praises. That's probably his first error he's made tonight. Now opportunity for South as their fans start to get to their feet as Maven gives it to O'Neill, and O'Neill's knocked it on. Well,
they had a golden opportunity to do something here. Whether they'd have scored a try at the end of it, I don't know. Maven tries to set Adam O'Neill up, but Adam O'Neill at the precise moment decided to come back inside. I'd suggest these two communicate with each other and talk. That's the way to go.
So it'll be Stewart to work the scrum for Canberra. Gone with the feed. Here's Martin come in from the wing. Lance across for Stewart. Stewart runs into a pretty solid hit from Chisholm over the top, and Andrews underneath. Belcher in that crucial period of play where so often you see sides score tries. A few minutes to the half-time break. Lance working their way up for a good field position now, the Raiders. Stewart darting and weaving and dumbing and still going, falling, finally held. Last tackle now for the Raiders. Walters pass to Daly, out to Jackson. Jackson to Meninga. Meninga stepped out of one. He's looking inside. Found support to with Laurie Daly. Daly desperately trying to keep the ball alive, but South Sydney come up with it. Now they've swung up wide as Davidson brings it up over the quarter line. So plenty of fast movement here in this football game tonight. Attack and counter-attack. Good stuff. Entertaining stuff. Fennick over to Coleman and then to Jura. But Jackson saw Jura, lined him up, drove him into the ground. Now Chisholm. Just 10 metres from the halfway mark, South Sydney. Hosking looking to offload with one hand. Did well to hang on to it because he was certainly put off balance. Now Ellison's kick for touch is too good for Ferguson.
Yes, a smart kick, that one. Made about 18 or 20 metres up the sideline, end over end. Ferguson realised that Longbottom's coming after him, but the ball made it just on the quarter.
So Stewart will get the feed for the Canberra Raiders. That's the quarter line you see there. On with the feed. Laurie Daly. Now Stewart comes back the blind side. Fennick rides him into the ground. Ferguson dummy half. Good defence from Souths. Ellison and Chisholm combining there. Now Ellis. Walters. Out of the way to his skipper Lance, and Lance has been able to find support too from Stewart. Stewart shrugged off one tackler and is held. 32 out. It's the last tackle for the Raiders. Belcher out to Meninga. Showed it to Jackson, but kept going himself. Now he's still going, Meninga, over the quarter line. He's got support with Martin, but he's hung on to it. Well, I think he might have bombed it there.
Yes, that was the last tackle, and he had the option of giving a pass outside, but he's a strong big fellow. He probably liked his chances of getting through the tackle, but that's the way it ends. So at the half-time break, we've got South Sydney trailing by 4 points. Canberra are 6, South Sydney 2. Tries to Canberra. Ferguson, that splendid try in the opening 3 or 4 minutes. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. A number of men handled it. And Belcher has kicked one from 2. South Sydney's tries or points have come from Ellison, who's only had 1 success from 3. So it's still plenty to do, still plenty of football left in this match. I'm a little bit surprised that South Sydney have been able to hang in there and stay fairly close to them, because Canberra looked like they were going to go away with the game in the first 15 or 20 minutes. Anyway, we'll hope for South Sydney to come back in a stronger fashion than they did early on, and we'll be back after this, so don't go away.
The start of the second half with Canberra leading Souths by 6 points to 2. Just about ready for the kick-off, and Bill Anderson, you have some changes for us.
I certainly do. There are quite a number of them. Firstly, for South Sydney, David Cruikshank in 28 will be taking the place of Bronco DeJura at fullback. Michael Blake comes onto the field in 16. He'll be taking the place of Steve Maven in the centres. Now for Canberra, Bacco has left the field. That's a big loss, and he's been replaced by Gary Coyne wearing 26.
Okay, Bill, what were the tactics that were discussed in there?
Well, George Piggins was very concerned about his team's defence, particularly after chasing kicks, and that was obvious to us all in the first half. Timmy Sheens from Canberra, his only worry really that his team was doing good things and then spoiling it with shoddy handling. He wants them to play out successive sets of 6. He thinks if they can hold the ball for 12 and 18 tackles, there's certainties to win this.
Okay, well, that's a handy penalty to South Sydney from that play the ball. Check the first half tacklers. Souths have made 84 tackles compared to Canberra's 80. Davidson and Fennick showing the way for Souths, and Lazarus is the top tackler in the Canberra side at this stage. In the missed tackles department, it's interesting to note that Souths missed 16 tackles in that first half compared to Canberra's 3. But an opportunity now for Souths to put some early pressure on in the second half. Here's Davidson. Now Ellison able to slip the ball, which has gone to ground, and Canberra come up with, well, that's a stupid error for South Sydney so early on.
Yes, well, that's one of the things that George Piggins, of course, was talking about. Lost ball. He managed to share a ride in the lift back up to the top of the grandstand with him. Kept shaking his head the number of times they've turned it around. Back it comes for Meninga. A big kick downfield. Cruikshank's way back. He's going to, well, I thought he was going to let it run dead. He'll come back and confront it with 3 and 4 Canberra defenders. It's the difference in the chasing of the kicking game from both sides as well. Neville. They're 12 metres out now, South Sydney from their own line. Fennick. Adam O'Neill in there to take some pressure off the forwards. Just manages to get to the quarter line. Hosking. No Shepherd, says McCallum. Pass around the backwards for Neville. Again, they put it down. Stewart quickly trying to turn defence into attack. Jackson. They have numbers over. Meninga quickly for Belcher into the open. Blake's coming across in cover. Ferguson again goes inside. South Sydney on the rack, about 8 metres out. The penalty's going to come for interference in the play of the ball. Ferguson was getting to his feet and he had the ball stolen from him.
Yes, Belcher sighted an opening here as Graham was calling it. There was a giant opening there, and Ferguson eventually came back inside Belcher. Then Cruikshank reefed the ball out of his arms, as you can see. And that's a penalty in a fairly handy position, about 7 or 8 metres in from the sideline, right on the quarter.
Belcher will be the man to set the goal. Just 1 from 2. Both of those kicks were relatively easy ones. And this much more difficult. There's the angle for you. As Rex said, about 8 metres in from touch.
Well, I don't know, I've got a squint in the eye or something, but I reckon that foot is pointed slightly to the left. We'll see.
About to find that out. He's pushed it across the right, trying to drag it back in, just shaving the post, only just missing. So they'll maintain that lead of 6-2, Canberra.
The redeeming feature, of course, was that he did kick the ball dead, so they get the ball back from the dropout from Phil Blake.
And Blake, deep drop kick on the fly, nearly from quarter line to quarter line for Belcher. Back into the defence. One of the few occasions he hasn't found himself into the open. Lazarus leading the way strongly in the forwards tonight for Canberra. Again, the ball's been knocked out of his hands. Chisholm demonstrates with McCallum.
Yes, Chisholm was the man in the tackle that reached the ball out. He had his arm through the arm there, and as he pulled his arm out, it sort of dragged it out as well. It's an intentional ploy they get up to.
Gee, that's a good kick, isn't it, for touch?
Yes, this puts them under a lot of pressure right now, South Sydney.
Just 15 metres out now. The Raiders putting all sorts of pressure on South Sydney as Lazarus takes it up down the blind side. 8 metres out now, the Raiders. Still working that blind side, and that's going to be a try. I think you'll find it as a try to Bradley Clyde. 2 moves to play the balls down the blind side, and they're in to score.
Yes, indeed, it was a good move there. Walters was the man who started it, got it on to Bradley Clyde, who got there just by the skin of his teeth, but that's all he really had to do. It was a good, strong run, too. He came slightly off his right foot and straightened up. Here he goes again. There's a dummy pass to the open, and they popped the ball back to the blind side, and Clyde got a great big right hand out, full extension. He's a bright young lad. Just needs to watch his handling from time to time.
18 years old, look at that.
Geez, nobody's 18, I don't believe that.
He's going to be a big boy when he grows up, too. So the Raiders, there's Tim Machines, who probably feel a little easier now. I mean, this is how the Raiders virtually started the first half, isn't it?
Yes, they ran away there. They were doing all sorts of things with their three-quarter line looking very, very good. South Sydney looking terribly vulnerable. And I thought the floodgates were going to open. But they didn't. South Sydney hung in there, as often happens.
Of course, every point that the Raiders score makes South Sydney's chances of reaching the finals all that harder. Now, Gary Belcher from 5 metres in from touch strikes this one pretty well, but hits the upright. Well, that was a pretty good kick, but it's not successful. So the score is Canberra 10 over South Sydney 2. Friday night football. 10-2, that scoreline. Canberra over South Sydney. A game played in front of 11,500 people. Good crowd, perfect night for it. The majority of them, I guess, are South Sydney supporters, and they wouldn't be feeling all that well. But the Rabbitohs are still able to keep this football alive as Adam O'Neill takes it down the flank, but is bundled into touch.
Yes, a good run by the little fellow, but he did flirt with the sideline all along. He knew probably that he was going to get pulled over the line. And it happened. He's too lightweight. He couldn't put any pressure on coming back infield.
Just in South Sydney's half, the scrum, worked by Stewart, it's gone with the feed. And Stewart, oh, there's a big gap there for the little fellow, he's gone straight through it. Where's the support? Bounces off the defence, still going. Well, there was a huge gap there for Stewart to run through. So the Raiders back in it again. Jackson getting it to Belcher. Walters.
He's had a useful game tonight. Walters too from dummy half.
10 metres out now, the Raiders. Stewart got her on to Jackson. Jackson is giving it to Belcher. Belcher linking up with Meninga. The pass is there for Laurie Daly it is. Laurie Daly, who is standing out there on the flank, has gone in to score a try that could put the end to South Sydney.
Yes, indeed. I think that probably is the death knell. I can't see them coming back from this. Watch it now as they work it out to the right. It's a good move there with Jackson coming in and then swing it away to Belcher. There was a slight hint of a shepherd there. Meninga gets the pass there, flicks it back on the inside to Daly. Now this is a good athlete, and at full extent he goes in and scores the try. Just watch and see if this shepherding interfered with the opposition. There's Jackson coming in, and at that point there was some shepherding on. Belcher was the man that was shepherded. But he got the pass away to Meninga. Meninga turned it back on the inside to Daly and Innies for a try. It's apparent that all the youngsters are having a run tonight. That's Bradley Clyde and Daly. A little bit of shepherding there. Probably stopped Chisholm from getting to the man a little bit earlier. And there's Daly scoring the try.
That's his 13th try for the year, Laurie Daly. Fine young player. From almost out on the touchline, this kick is to the side of the post. So the score will remain Canberra 14 now, South Sydney 2.
So South Sydney well and truly on their heels. And the 1988 season, Bill, is it virtually over for the Rabbitohs?
Well, that's it, Graham, I'm afraid. The Rabbitohs are going to lose this one, and that'll put them out of the 5. But we should have a look at where Canberra have won this game. Before the match, we suggested that they beat Souths down the edges of the field. And that's exactly where they're going to do that, I believe. The first try was Ferguson down the sideline. The second try was a set move by coach Timmy Sheens. He had the 2 South Sydney centres caught on the one side of the field. They simply went down the blind and scored a try down the edges. And that last try was Laurie Daly scouting out wide. Now, don't get me wrong, South Sydney could get out of this one, but, gee, it's looking ominous at the moment, and it's purely because Canberra are playing a smart football game.
Well, they're playing smart, and I think I'll be waiting for the next try, I think, just to convince myself about South Sydney. Still 29 minutes left on the clock. Meninga sending Cruikshank racing across to the touch. And again, here's the difference from Canberra. 5 chases down there for the Raiders. Blake, Michael Blake. They just continue to be turned around and find themselves inside their own quarter line. Ellison just to the quarter line. Davidson, long cut-out pass, was nearly intercepted by Meninga, who had tried to read that. 6 more tackles, and Adam O'Neill comes up with the ball. Another change, Bill.
Ellison will be coming off the field, and Graham Lyons, wearing 27, will take his place.
Lyons and 27 for Ellison. Coming across slowly now to take this kick for touch from the penalty. Fennick screaming out orders to his team. He realises the time's getting away from them. Asking the question if they can still lift themselves, if they really want a semi-final spot. He's going to restart play for them for Davidson. Gets it back for Fennick. Long pass back for Hosking now. Andrews. Great defence from Lance. He came up with a couple of tremendous hits in the first 40 minutes. Coleman. O'Neill slips as he tried to come back infield. This defence continues to move up out wide from Canberra, forcing South back up the middle. Hosking to his feet. Ellison only just had time to get his kick in. For Belcher, the big danger man. Jinking around, trying to get to the outside of Michael Blake. He gives Ferguson his chance. Steps out of one tackle and back into the arms of Longbottom and Michael Blake. Stewart. Put the ball up slowly there, trying not to avoid any hit of the Shepherd around some of his forwards. Coyne. Straight into the fence. Lance looking for forward runners. Good pass for Ellis. So much more confidence in this Canberra side. Meninga's deep for the kick. Waller's tried to sneak away out of there. And Ellis is wrapped up by Ellison on the last tackle for the Raiders now. Again, Meninga's very deep. Flat pass for Belcher to put in the kick. And a deep torpedo punt for Adam O'Neill, who may have had a bit of a look there at the defence. Came up with a simple knock-on.
Yes, unfortunately, I agree. I think there was no maybe about it. He did have a look at the opposition, and immediately you do that, you take your eye off the ball momentarily, and down she'll go. It's a pretty sad night for Adam O'Neill. He's made a number of little errors that have cost his team a lot of yardage.
So Ellison's off and Lyons is out there. The scrum win for Canberra puts them into a great position. Jackson will get to his feet now. Midfield. Clyde, back in it goes for Lance. Setting themselves again, Canberra, for another try. Walters picked up a lot of yardage out of dummy half. Lance, run around for Stewart. Goes back into the ruck to pick up his forwards. Lazarus with a perfect pass. He unloaded that one well. Coyne on the charge, right under the post. That's an easy try. No, McCallum says he didn't get the ball down. He looked to crash over right under the dot.
Well, we'll see just whether he did or not. There he is, coming very strongly. Well, it's impossible to tell there that Obviously, there's a South Sydney player between the ball and the ground there. We'll watch it again. Just look as he goes over Lyons is sort of between he and the ground. And he turns him over and the ball is right there on his chest. So obviously it was a good decision by McCullum.
Well, another near thing for South Sydney. They're still on the wrong end of the football field and the wrong end of the scoreboard too at this stage. Now Hosking bounces off one. Finally pulled out about 35 metres out, and the Canberra player will be called out. Something in that tackle. Mr. Lazarus.
They've been having a go at each other all night, Lazarus and Hosking.
Yeah, see it again. You'll see there's Hosking getting the ball, and Lazarus apparently has gone with the right hand around the top of the head. Apparently, I say. We couldn't clearly see it from that shot. The penalty is a relieving one and a good one. Takes play 10 yards beyond the halfway line, so South Sydney at least are out of their danger area.
Now here's Davidson coming from a good deep run, but losing the football.
On the first tackle.
On the first tackle. Beauty. Ferguson picks it up for Canberra. It's out for Stewart. Now Meninga steps out of one. Not able to offload. Just short of halfway. Jackson flicks it back for Lazarus. Hosking over the top on Lazarus. Lance. Stewart. Jackson. The little kick ahead. The chase is there. The bounce has just eluded Belcher, who was chasing it. But picked up by Cruikshank. Now Longbottom runs away with it.
There's Davidson into the back play.
And Mario Fennick's gone straight through the centre of the ruck, and he's got support inside. But gee, there was plenty of defence there on Chisholm as soon as he had the ball. Fennick again gets it back to Coleman. Inside pass for Graham Lyons. 15 metres out from the Canberra line. Here's Coleman and Longbottom. Longbottom thought he saw a little opening. Last tackle now for the Rabbitohs. Up they go for it. It's loose. It's anybody's football. The penalty has been given to Canberra, as South Sydney chasers were ruled offside. So Canberra weather the storm. As Davidson was receiving some treatment in back play, but he seems to be okay now. This Canberra player is Ricky Stewart, the halfback. They're going to play on. Jackson is going to try to find touch. And gee, he's been finding touch magnificently. His kicks for line have been great.
Yes, he's adopted the style of the drop punt, and he lets the ball go fairly close to the ground before he kicks it.
Very effective. Well, Lazarus tried to do an acrobatic trick and pick up that football after he'd lost it. South Sydney made the dickens of a job trying to pick it up as well. Finally, Lyons has it now in centre field. Now Blake. On the sideline is Chris O'Sullivan getting ready to go on. We understand for Ricky Stewart, who's still being treated. Cramps seems to be the problem there. Now, South Sydney with Lyons charging away with it. Caught only 12 metres out. Opportunity now for Adam O'Neill. Surging at the line. He cannot do a thing right tonight, Adam O'Neill.
Now he's got a cramp. Really, this is a classic double movement, this one. Watch, his forward progress has stopped, and he reaches for the line with his hand. He's never, ever going to get a try given to him by any referee for that sort of action.
Well, now Adam's in trouble with cramp himself. So players going down everywhere at the moment. 14-2, Canberra leads South Sydney. The Raiders lead. They've managed to take play inside the South Sydney quarter line on the last tackle. Back for Ricky Stewart. The attempted drop at field goal. Looks pretty good. He's turned his back quickly. He likes it. Fine opportunity taken by Stewart.
Yeah, see it again on the replay. It's a good looking kick. He's a former rugby union international, of course. He'd know a little bit about drop kicking. And that was a very good one. So the score hastens on. Canberra 15, South Sydney 2.
They certainly need to settle themselves down, Canberra, after a couple of mistakes had got themselves into trouble. Blake. Restart for Souths. They've been trying desperately to get back into this game. Comes away now for Clyde. Bill, they were doing it easy, Canberra, but they really did put a bit of pressure on themselves.
Yes, they did, and Graham, it was all the result of drop ball. I think they thought they had this game home and hosed. They started to do a few things that were a little bit unorthodox. That gave South Sydney the possession they needed to mount some pressure. But I think Canberra are just about back on the rails now, and as I'm speaking, Graham, Wayne Chisholm is coming from the field. We don't have a replacement ready as yet.
Well, it's going to leave them short. Can't afford to do that against a side as brilliant in the open as Canberra. Cruikshank. Brilliant himself on the run. Great take by the fullback. Trips as he comes to the defence, gets up and starts again. Dummies. Well, Adam O'Neill's knocked that one back. He nearly gave himself up thinking that he had knocked it on. Now he's beating the defence. Gets his chance on the merry-go-round and gets thrown to the ground by Lazarus. Coleman. South Sydney spinning this ball. Ledge right out there for South Sydney as the replacement for Chisholm as Davidson charges the defence. Well, he's lost it. They just can't maintain any pressure at all on Canberra. Too many handling mistakes, trying to force the pass on occasions when it hasn't been on. Steve Walters and Chisholm on the sideline with the South Sydney doctor, Nathan Gibbs, claiming a shoulder complaint. Blindside for Jackson. Back infield it goes for Belcher. Took it brilliantly. Just plucked it out of the sky. Lobs a pass over the top for Daly. Gets it started for Jackson. This is a magnificent Canberra try. Ball handling at its best. A short blindside, and what a great try for Jackson.
Yeah, spectacular stuff from them. They're really starting to put it together right now. Just watch now as the pass. I thought that pass was forward. The referee thought so too. He put his whistle to his lips and didn't go on with it. Belcher gets a pass back on the inside. It's taken magnificently there by Daly. Daly gets it away to Jackson. Jackson's put himself right behind Les White, who's come on as a replacement, and a good score. Now this is it again from a different angle. Jackson holds the pass back. That's the one I thought that was forward. Gets it on back to Belcher. Belcher goes with a great pace up the sideline. The pass back on the inside was taken by Daly. Daly got it away to Jackson, who shuffled it onto his thigh and was able to pick it up and get the ball down properly. That's a really spectacular try. Good stuff. And they're really starting to run away with this game now. 19 points to 2, the score, with a kick at goal from a relatively simple position to follow.
24 years of age, Peter Jackson. And Belcher from right alongside the post. Just 1 from 5 tonight for Belcher. He struck the post on one other occasion. This time he has another success. So even further ahead, the Canberra Raiders. They lead 21-2 over South.
We're in control of this football game at the moment. 21 points to 2 over South Sydney. Les Davidson brings it out for Souths, just over the quarter line. That change that we mentioned before has been made. Chris O'Sullivan is on, and Ricky Stewart, who was suffering from cramps, is the player who's been replaced. Fennick got it back for Coleman. Keeping it alive or trying to South, but gee whiz, they lose it. But the penalty has gone to South. Player was tackled there without the ball.
Yes, I think this is clearly shown on the replay. Watch out on the left, as Coleman has a hand from Jackson well and truly on him, pulling him back before the ball came to him. So that's tackling a player without the ball.
Come on, South, put one on. It's a good kick for a touch from Phil Blake as well. 32 metres out from the Canberra line. Davidson got it back to Blake and then to Coleman. And then to Michael Blake. Blake from dummy half. This is Philip Blake, of course. With South Sydney in a good attacking position. Coleman. Shows it to Fennick, gave it to Fennick, and away to Les White. Back to Fennick. Canberra defence moving up quickly. Who wants the football? Well, Coleman's tried to pick it up and knocked it on. It's the story of South Sydney tonight, isn't it?
Yes, they can't sustain any pressure at all. There's always a mishandle somewhere along the line. That wasn't a good pass came to him from Cruikshank. It all happened very quickly. It came to him very low down at his feet, and he was trying to move as well as take it.
Now here's Daly ducking under a high tackle from Phil Blake. Ferguson runs from dummy half, held by Les White, who looks as if he wouldn't be out of place in that movie that's on right after the football. Now the Raiders swinging it wide again, and here's Daly trying to sandwich his way through a couple of defenders. And Jackson. Pass tackle signal now for the Raiders. Back for O'Sullivan. His kick for touch is way too big. Out on the full. Don't you reckon Les White could get a part in this movie from noon till 3?
From noon till 3. Western comedy. Well, it's going to be deadly serious after this one.
Charles Bronson and Jill Island.
Yeah, his fans might be a little bit surprised at him tonight. A little bit lighter role for Bronson than usual.
It's on right after Friday Night Football, and Blake again has lost his boot. Seems to be doing that an awful lot, doesn't he?
Yes, he's run out of them with the speed he was going when he was chasing Ferguson the first try.
Hosking. That's a good tackle from Lazarus. Now Coleman. Here comes White. Trying to offload. He's got a pass back along the ground. Well, Canberra shade Souths in the scrums 9-7, and the penalties just favour Souths 10-8. But it has been all Canberra as Andrews is caught by Clyde and Meninga. Blake. It's 32 metres out from the Canberra line. Of course, this very impressive Canberra side with all their flair. Adam O'Neill will be in action. Will be in action again Sunday week when they play Canterbury down at Seaford Oval. That'll be our State Bank big game Sunday week. Mario Fennick still down injured, but South swinging it wide. Out it comes to Michael Blake onto Longbottom. The centre kick from Longbottom is going to be too big.
Yes, it was a forlorn hope, the centre kick at this stage, because it went much too far, went out over the dead ball line on the full. No pressure for the Canberra Raiders.
They will bring the ball back quickly to 32 metres out from their own line. Lazarus taking the ball up strongly all night. As Canberra to set themselves now. Sullivan, dummies. Taken in the middle by Davidson. Ricky Stewart was the man that Sullivan replaced his sideline with Bill Anderson.
Well, Ricky, we haven't seen a great deal of you in television. You're a former rugby union international, but you seem to have adjusted very well to rugby league.
Yeah, well, Bill, I'm finding it a little bit easy
go
at
with
the
play
moment.
here through Laurie Daly. Daly out for Ferguson. Steps inside Cruikshank. It's just another try. He was looking for Belcher. He heard the call, but when he turned his back, he lost him. He's trying to get to his feet quickly here for the numbers for Canberra if they can stretch it out to the right. Jackson forced back up the middle. Belcher now trying to keep it alive for Daly. Props comes to the defence about 6 metres out. They still have numbers left over, Canberra. If they can move it, Belcher just kicks through. He's touched it. It's a try.
Oh, what a smart try too. What a clever try. Gary Belcher, who's unquestionably been one of the outstanding players in this match, just toys with him here. The little kick through. He's pulled back, but watch him get the hand down there. A very, very clever, smart try from a classy footballer. Very, very admirable qualities he's got in his game. There it is. That was all you've got to exert is the downward pressure. And he was capable of doing that in the situation. The little kick through, probably a little bit lucky the ball went through the legs of a South Sydney player, but nonetheless it was all fought and it looked very, very good. Very smart indeed.
It's been a magnificent night for Belcher, the development officer for the Canberra Raiders.
The Dally M fullback of the year last year. 7 tries. He's come up with an 88. Dean Lance now being forced to the sideline. Bill, is there a replacement?
There is. It's Craig Bellamy wearing number 19, and he has gone on.
Belcher. Hasn't been a happy night for him with the boot. He's pushed this one again to the side of the uprights. But it's still a big scoreline in favour of the Raiders. 25-2 over Souths. 25-2 the Raiders over Souths. Ricky Stewart is still sidelined with Bill Anderson, has also got some changes for us.
Yes, Graham, there is a change. Phil Hurst is on the field wearing number 17. He's taken the place of Laurie Daly, and I might get back now to Ricky Stewart. Ricky, have you found the change very difficult from Union to League?
Yeah, I have, mate. The change has been pretty difficult. Even just coming back in the first grade is so different to playing reserve grade, you know, but geez, I've been enjoying it. Yeah.
You took Ivan Henjak's place, but I believe he's been a big help to you.
Oh, mate, I couldn't have asked any more from Ivan. He's been great. Every game I've played with the first grade, he's just been there in my ear helping me, yeah.
Well, I'll let you go and have an early shower.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, mate.
Man that was suffering from cramps. Played well when he was out there. South Sydney, a brave battle to try and make the semi-finals. Looks as though it's virtually over from them. Michael Blake brought down. They haven't shown much in attack tonight, South. Last tackle back for Phil Blake. And the kick into the open spaces for that combination yet again, Ferguson and Belcher. And again, there's plenty of room to move in. Jackson. Straight across field. Steps back into the forwards. Grant Ellis. Again, they go inside South Sydney territory. Jackson. Belcher standing wide. Back inside for Meninga. Just keeping the ball alive for Coyne. Coyne turns. He's back for Jackson. The defence just isn't there at the moment. Belcher is in another try. Well, that's going to cap off a great night. And again, it's the Canberra Raiders back line that has just cut them to pieces. Too big, too strong, and much, much too fast.
Yes, I think much too fast is the answer all around, really. This is great stuff by Belcher. Look at the run there, the turning back of the ball. Now, Meninga selectively gives a pass to somebody that's a little bit behind the original guy that looked as though he was going to get it. Got it away to Coyne. Then back to Jackson again. Jackson then pops the pass back nicely on the inside to Gary Belcher. And he gives a great big fend and goes over and scores a very good try. So that gives him a tally of 8, 10, 12 points tonight. Takes his tally for the season up to 172 from 160. Here he is, all class. The heir apparent to the fullback throne when it's vacated by Gary Jack. Coyne away to Jackson. Jackson very nicely props at this point and gives the pass back on the inside to Belcher, who's much too quick, absolutely like lightning. And talk about a specialist fullback, he's a beauty. No question about that.
And here he's scored this one in a perfect position for him to add the extras, which he's done. So the Canberra side streaming further ahead, 31 points to 2, a very impressive display. And Mario Fennick knows that the semi-final charge for his side is now over. He's certainly given everything tonight. Phil Blake to restart. Let's not forget too, this Canberra side have Brent Todd, the big front rower, ready to come back, I believe, next week. Good time for them to start getting, there he is there. Good time for them to get players back, Rex, at this time of the year.
Oh, yes, he had a very strong game last year, and he's a good player, no question about that. Very direct, an old-fashioned type of front row forward. And exactly the same as Ward, the Manly player, that style of player. Nothing flamboyant about it. He'll be very, very good to get back for them.
We've got about 3 minutes of play remaining. Longbottom has touched this, but he's grabbed it before it's gone over the line. But now he's in all sorts of trouble. Right on his own quarter. Caught by Bellamy and Coyne. Cruikshank will play it. This is White. Held by Jackson. And Lazarus lying all over him. Davidson.
All night he's been much too shallow, doesn't get any momentum up.
Yeah, South's Michael Blake trying to keep this alive. There's a player down injured. Coleman's pass has been intercepted and picked up. And here they go again with Hurst. Bill Hurst, a runaway try. Well, Hurst came on as a replacement for Laurie Daly. And they're flatmates, these two.
Yes, I feel a bit sorry for Coleman here. He's tried desperately hard to get the ball away, but Laurie Hurst had come up and read the play. It probably a fraction offside even, perhaps, but he's had an easy sprint of about 45 metres to the line without a hand being laid upon him until he got over the line. Then the late tackle came in. But there it is. There's the open spaces. Have a look. I think you could probably have scored that one, couldn't you? Sitting at home in your lounge rooms, you're all imagining that you're playing football, all you men anyway. That's a try you probably could have scored if you could have caught the football.
Bill Hurst on there as a replacement for Daly. As I mentioned, they're flatmates, good buddies. And Canberra have now scored 90 tries for this year. Gary Belcher has only kicked 3 from 8 tonight, so
it'll be a good grand final, Manly and Canberra, won't it?
Yeah, I think there might be a couple of other clubs there might have something to say about that. But I must say that at this stage I would agree with you. A lower trajectory kick from Belcher, but unsuccessful. So it remains 35 points to 2.
Well, he even had the happy disposition to have a smile and a laugh about missing that one. So he's travelling very well. Belcher's a very gentlemanly sort of a fellow when you talk to him. You know, he's not that most of the rugby league players aren't, but he is very good.
Well, got a player down there with a nasty cramp. Bradley Clyde, is it? Looks like Brad Clyde. So we've had a number of players go down with cramps tonight.
Bradley's getting assisted from the field in the carry, the fireman's carry. I think the South Sydney players had wished he'd gone off a bit earlier. So quite a strong game for a youngster, only 18 years of age, they say.
Yeah, not long to go in this game at all. In fact, we're in the last minute as Meninga brings it back for the Raiders and is able to offload to Walters. Lazarus, as the siren brings an end to proceedings for this Friday night. And South Sydney, their charge to the semis has ended, with Canberra running out very, very comfortable winners in the end.
35
points
to 2
in unison.
In unison, that's right. Well, the try scorers, and pretty near everyone's had a go at it. Ferguson, Clyde, Daly, Jackson and Hurst have scored tries. Belcher came up with a double. Also, he's had 3 goals and Stewart had a field goal. That's the 35 points from Canberra. South Sydney, a rather miserable scoreline. It really doesn't indicate how well they played in different games this year, only getting 2 points from a penalty goal. I don't think you people are going to be very mystified about the man of the match, but we'll keep it a secret for another few seconds, and I'll be back with that selection, or the boys will, very shortly. So don't go away, we've still got plenty of interviews to come.